Hi everyone, welcome back to SmugMug Live. Wherever you are in the world, welcome to the show. This is episode 82, and SmugMug Live, as always, is brought to you by SmugMug and Flickr. If you are looking for somewhere to showcase your images to the world and have an incredible photo website, then check out everything we have at smugmug.com, including incredible online storage and e-commerce solutions. Or if you're looking to be part of an incredible photo community, then please check out everything we also offer over at flickr.com. As I said, this is episode 82, another tips and tricks episode today, and I'll be touching on the big topic of customization, which over the last few weeks, there's been a few questions come up during the show and after the show, people asking simple questions like, how do you customize, or where do you start customizing your site? So I'm going to start today with looking at some of the options you have to customize your site. I don't think we'll be able to cover all of it in one or two episodes, but we'll certainly start the ball rolling today with an episode on customization. If this is the first time you're joining me on SmugMug Live, thank you so much. My name is Alastair Jolly. I'm the Global Marketing Manager for SmugMug and Flickr. And SmugMug Live is an opportunity to connect with our community, give you some tips and tricks, but also showcase some incredible photography and motivate and inspire you. So the way it typically runs is on a Tuesday, I'll do a tips and tricks episode like today. And on a Thursday, we're typically joined by an incredible guest who gives us an insight into their world and lets us know a little bit more about the photography they do. And of course, that can all change if, unfortunately, my guest is only able to join me on a Tuesday. But we try and keep it going the way it is on a Tuesday and a Thursday. I can see and hear a lot of you in that chat. I get a little ping in my ear every time someone mentions something in the chat. So thank you for jumping into the chat window. Chat window is a great way to communicate with me today. I will try and keep an eye on it as I'm demonstrating some customization tips. And if you have a question today for customization, then please start your question with the word question in the chat window. That way I'll be able to find it a bit easier as we go through the chat. And then at the end, we'll go through some of those questions. And if we have time, we'll look at some general questions out with the customization theme that we're covering today. And yeah, we'll run for maybe 30 to 40 minutes today and see how much we can get going. So let's see who's joining us today. Chris was first in, even before the show had started. Chris had said, time to revamp my site. Well, hopefully I'll certainly give you some tips and tricks today, Chris, to inspire you to have a little look at customizing your site. Phil says hi from the UK. Hi Philip, thanks for joining us. Randy's with us again. Hey Randy, says from sunny and 75-degree Tennessee. Well, here in Scotland it is nice and sunny today, although the sun is just going down. However, it has been snowing today as well. The last few days we've had snow again here in Scotland and across Europe. But at headquarters in San Francisco, it's another glorious day there. Adrenal Media is joining us. Hey, never too late to learn some more stuff. That's right. Never too late to learn. Adrenal Media's John Rourke, one of our ambassadors. Thanks, John, for being here. An incredible motorsport photographer. Golf Oscar, hi from the New Forest in the UK. Sunny, but not 75 degrees yet. It's definitely not 75 degrees here in the UK, that's for sure. But if you're new to the show, get in that chat window, give yourself a little shout out, and let's see who's joining us. Connor McNeil, another SmugMug ambassador. Hi, Connor, the fella. Hello from the Fast. I'm not quite sure what. Oh, Belfast. Okay, it's abbreviated. Hello from the Fast, Belfast. Good to see you, Connor. Bob says greetings from sunny New Jersey. Hey, Bob. Good to see you in the chat. So yeah, looking forward to seeing who's all joining us today. Steve. Hi, Steve. Steve says it is snowing in Utah. Yeah. I think I'd rather be in Utah. Your ski slopes are open in Utah. They're not here in Scotland, unfortunately, due to the pandemic. Kim, hi Kim. She says, how fun. Just learned about these. Hi from Indiana. Kim, glad to have you joining the show. You've only got 81 episodes to catch up on, so you're okay. Give yourself a few hours. But yeah, hopefully this will be of benefit and give you some inspiration about customizing your site. So let's get started. Let's head over to my check that's back. Yep, it's almost back. It's very dark though. Let me see if I can brighten that up. Sorry folks, don't know what happened there. Little technical difficulty. Give me 1 second while always something goes wrong. Right, I'm back. Oh, hello, can you hear me? Right, I'm not sure what's going on, folks. I do apologize. Let me know if you can hear me. Right, I should have sound back. It looks like I have sound back now. Someone give me a thumbs up. I'm a little bit... Your chat is about 30 seconds behind me, so apologies if you're not hearing me, but it is the joy of live streaming, so apologies, folks. Yep, sorry, folks, I am checking. Randy says I've been censored, no sounds. Yeah. Okay. John says I'm back. Right, shall we start the whole thing again? Why have I got this here now? Bear with me, folks. Right, okay, you're all confirming that I am back, so thank you for that. Right, I need to bring back my camera. Okay, it's the joys of live streaming, folks. Sometimes things just don't want to go right. So, right, you can all stop pinging me now, saying you can hear me. I can. I am back. Right, we'll start again. I think when my camera freezed, it cut the sound out as well. So anyway, I'm all back. You can see me, you can hear me. Hi to those who are just joining in. We're going to get into the show, which is all about customizing. So heading over to this demo site, which many of you will be familiar with. This is a site I've used many a time here on the live stream to demonstrate things that our site does. It's just a demo site. It's one that I've messed about with for many, many years and allows me to demonstrate some of the things we can do with the site. So let's get started here. And the first thing I want to point out is where you go to customize your site. Someone messaged me during the week saying, you spoke about customization, but I don't even know where to turn on the customizer or get into customization. So when you're on your photo site and you're looking at your site, you have to be logged in, of course, so you'll see all the navigation of your SmugMug site once you're logged in. And just below your account settings, there is this little tab called Customize. And when you click on Customize, that is where you're going to customize your site. Now, when you open the customizer, there's an interesting area right here at the top. I'll zoom in there. So this top section here is called the navigation window. This tells you what part of your site you're customizing. So if I click on entire site, anything I customize in this window, and therefore anything that is red, here there's a navigation menu, anything that is red is going to appear on every page of my website. So anything I put on this entire site section will show on every page, but then I can click down here and click on homepage, and that way I'm just customizing the homepage, and then we can get into folders and galleries and other individual pages later on in the demo. Now, something I want to point out Customization is available to all our customers, but there are some limits on it. If you are one of our basic customers and you just have our basic plan, then you can customize your homepage, and the galleries and the folders and stuff that you put available to your customers or your family, you can customize them only by changing the theme. Okay, you can't move parts of it about on our basic plan. As a Power, Portfolio and Pro customer, you can customize every section of your site, every page, every gallery, every folder. So I just want to make that clear. And today I'll concentrate mostly on the home page. And this is available to, as I say, all our customers, even those on our basic plan. So the navigation window, as I said, that shows you where you're customizing. And then in order to customize, let me zoom in here, we have 4 tabs available in the customizer. There's content blocks, which I'll come to. There are themes. Now, themes I covered, I had to check, but I covered this back in episode 77. So if you go back here on YouTube to episode 77, you can see a whole episode on how you can use themes to customize the look and the feel of your site. Now, a theme change will change things like the font, the color of the page, the color of the header, the color of your text, the color of the font, all the things to do with the look and feel of sections of your site. So go back to episode 77 and you can see all about changing themes. Today what I want to cover is this background tab and content tab. And we'll get to layout, but we probably won't be able to get to that on this episode. We'll get to that on a future episode, probably next week. So let's start with the background tab. Now, what we're looking at here is my homepage in the customizer. You can see that this section here is blue. That means it lives on my homepage. You can see the homepage is highlighted blue here. If I hover over the menu item, it is red, which means it lives on the entire site. So to change that, I would have to go to the entire site section. But on the homepage here, I have one content block already on the page. Underneath the tabs here, there's a little section that shows you what you already have on the particular page that you're customizing. On this page, I have a menu content block, I have some social icons, and I have multiple photos. I know that the menu and the social content blocks, you can see as I hover over them, they turn red. Those are, as I say, on my entire site. The multiple photos content block is on my homepage. Now, I'm going to start by actually deleting this multiple photos content block so that I have a fresh page, so that we can start customizing this page as if it was fresh and look at some of the things that you would maybe want to do to your site. Now, the background tab, as I mentioned earlier, is a great way to customize your homepage. You can use it on any page of your site, but the homepage it's especially effective on the home page. So let's click on this background tab, and what that background tab allows you to do is add some content to the entire page of the page that you're adding a background to. If I choose none, then nothing is available. There's nothing there. It's just the theme color on the background of your site. If I choose a photo, then what I can do is I can add a photograph to the entire background of this home page. So there's a couple of options when you choose photo. You can make that photograph change. So every time someone loads your home page, they get a different photograph. Or you can leave it as the same photograph every time they come back, and you can align it. So, but the first thing you have to do is actually choose a photograph. So let's zoom in a little bit here. This little icon here, if you click on that icon, it'll take you to the photo picker, and this is where you can choose a picture to be the background of your home page. So let's go into the seascapes here, and I'm going to choose this image. And if I click done, you can see that that image has filled the entire background of my homepage. Now, picked an image that actually has a watermark on it. So ignore the watermark. You can, of course, pick any photograph that you want. Let's go choose another one. Let's choose a monochrome image. Let's choose this one here. And there you go. It applies that as a background to the entire site, and it will fill the entire background, irrelevant of what device people are looking at your website with. We, are aware of what type of device, whether it's a mobile phone, a tablet, or a laptop. We know what size screen they're looking at your website with, and we can fill that entire screen with your image. Now, something you may notice from a design perspective, this doesn't work very well because this image is very dark and very contrasty, and the theme of my text is black, so or dark gray, so you can't really read my menu very well. So these are things you have to pay attention to when you choose an image. But something that we do have is an item called mask. So if you turn on a mask, you can actually add some masking to that image to give more contrast to the text and the things that you have on your site. Here it's choosing an automatic mask based on the theme that we have, but I could choose a dark mask, so it darkens it even more, or I can choose a light mask to make it very light. And again, just helps make the text and the other items that you might want to add to your homepage stand out a little bit more. And then if I click done and I choose publish, that makes that live to the world. And now if you come to my homepage, you'll see that image is filling the whole homepage of my website. And I could add more content there in the customizer. Something else I'd like to show about the background. If I go back into customize, I'm still working on the home page here. If I go back to the background tab, as well as choosing photos, I could choose a slideshow. So I could choose an entire gallery, and it would then play a slideshow in the background of all the images that are in that gallery. So let's go over here, click slideshow. It asks you what is the source for the slideshow. It's going to be a gallery. It's going to be a gallery that I choose. So let's go over here and choose the landscapes gallery. And here it's already playing in the background. And you now have controls over the playback of the slideshow that's playing in the background. You have control over the speed of the playback, the transition type, the speed of the transition, lots of things, and you still have masking. I actually still have the masking on here. I could turn the masking off, and you'll see the picture come through in full color. So go play about with slideshow. There's a lot of nice features to play about with there to get the slideshow playing the way you want it to. When you are choosing something like a slideshow or an image or a gallery of images, you really do have to think hard about the images that you're choosing. Definitely don't choose portrait-orientated images, because they are not going to fit very well on a homepage, because most people are looking at it in sort of horizontal landscape format. So choose landscape photographs. Make sure the resolution of that image is of good quality and high enough that it's going to fill a computer screen. But also look at the content that are in those images and where it's going to fall on your site. Is it going to interrupt logos and menus and other items that you might have on that site? But of course, using the mask feature can really help make sure that it's just a subtle addition to your homepage. One last feature within the background tab, which I really like, and it really is my favorite, is when you choose type, you can also choose video. So if I click on video here, it's going to ask me what video I want to use as a background. So I'm going to go in here, go to my site files where I've added a video previously. Click done. Now, one thing to note is when you add a video, we always ask for a fallback photo. Now, for some reason, your video might not be able to play on someone's computer. Some people block videos within their browser settings. So we always ask you to have a background image as a backup should the person or should the video not be able to play on the viewer's system. So once you've picked a backup image, you'll see that this video is now playing on the site. Let's publish that so you can see it all. So there you go. I have a video playing as the background to my site. And again, with video, it's almost even more important to be very cautious of what you're playing as a video. Videos can be very distracting. You want something that's fairly subtle and doesn't distract too much from what you want people to do on your website. Here, this is a little looping time-lapse video. And again, with video, if I go back to customize, go back to the background tab over here, click on background, and in video, I can also mask the video. So if I turn on masking, again, I can make that video even more subtle on the site by masking it in a light color, or if my text is white on my site, then I can mask it as a dark color so that the text stands out a little bit more. And you also have control over just how hard that masking is, whether it's low or soft or pretty intense, just to help it sort of be a background and rather than being too distracting, as I said. Question here from Adrenal. Hi John. He says, will the video play full screen on any device automatically? Definitely it should, as long as the resolution of the video that you upload is big enough to let somebody watch it on a 4K TV, that type of thing. But it certainly should fill the screen. And yeah, I've found it very effective over the years just to have a little subtle video playing in the background. Thank you for the question, though. But yeah, when you customize, first thing you should do is go check that your customizations worked. And when I say worked, I mean, is it doing what you expect it to do? But also, is it making the site user friendly? Is it readable? Is it distracting? So whatever you add to your site, always go double check it. What resolution is best? The bigger, the better. You have to think about what your customers are going to be viewing your site on. We'll scale it up to fit most screens, but I certainly would upload 1080 if possible. That's typically what I'm uploading. Is this clip's 1080. Never had an issue with it. So yeah, a little 1080 video is probably best for that. So that is backgrounds. If anybody has any questions about the background tab, get it in the chat for me. There is a delay between what I see on the chat and when you post it, so I'll come back to those at the end of the show. Hopefully that's been useful. Let me know if anybody's watching already uses a background tab. Let me know. I'd love to hear from those of you who are using it. If you've never used the background tab before, then hopefully I've inspired you to go play with the background tab. It's a very, very quick way to add some really interesting content to your site. And of course, you can add a background to any page on your site. It doesn't always work, right? It doesn't work for most pages. So in my experience, I'm typically seeing this on the home page. But your mileage may differ. You might find that you have a use for videos or slideshows on different pages of your site, but very effective on the home page. Right, so I'm going to turn off background for the moment, just so it's not distracting while we do some more customization. So we've spoke about themes back in episode 77. So go check that out if you want to know a little bit more about changing the font, changing the color of your site very, very easily and effectively and non-destructively, which is very important. We spoke about background. And a question just came in about background. So let's jump over to that. Thanks, Chris. How does the background interact with the theme? So there is some logic about what we do with the theme and the background, but mostly when it comes to masking. If you upload a video, it's not going to change your theme. It's not going to change the font color. It's not going to change the colors that you might have in the headers or the footers or any side panels. So it's not going to automatically change the theme. What will work though is if you add this masking. So let's go back here. Let's add the video. Site files. It's going to ask me to add a picture. Let's do that. So what is going to interact with your theme and make your theme much more effective is this masking tool, Chris. That really is the control that you have over allowing people to read and view the content that you have on your site, but it's not going to automatically change anything to do with the theme. Right, as I say, let's turn that off for now. And now let's head over to the content tab. The content tab is a very interesting tab indeed in the customizer, because this is where you have, if I scroll down this list, dozens upon dozens of things that you can add to your site. Now, hopefully if you've seen previous episodes, or if you've got a SmugMug site and you already have chosen a design template for your site, you'll be aware that there are already content blocks on your site. And here on my site, I have a social content block and I have this navigation content block on my site. If you think about content blocks a little bit like pieces of Lego that you want to stick together, you can build all the things you want on your site by adding these content blocks together, either on top or below or on either side of another content block. So really is the building blocks of your website are content blocks, and you literally just drag and drop them onto your site. So let's have a little look at adding a new content block. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to this navigation section up here. I'm going to click on entire site. So this is going to add, anything I add here is going to appear on every page of my website. I want my menu on every page. I want my social icons on every page, but I also want my company logo to be on my pages. And if you've been with me for a few previous episodes on this website, you'll know that I've never had a logo on it. So let's go add a logo today. So if we look at the content blocks, let's scroll down here. We have content blocks for all the types of things you would want to add to your site. Galleries, individual photos, navigation items. So if we click on the plus icon, you can see all the individual content blocks that are under the navigation section, like the menu content block, which we already have. You can add video to your site. So rather than it just being video as a background, you can add it as an actual small section of your website. There are design elements. So these are things like logos, line separators. Prime example of a line separator is the line above the word separator. You can add spacers to move things around. But for now, what I want to do is add this logo, or add a logo to my website. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on this content block called logo, and I'm going to drag it onto my website. And what it's asking me to do is it's asking me where I want to place it. And what I actually want to do is I want to place it in the header. So I want it to appear at the top of my website, above my navigation menu on every page. Now, if I just let go of that logo content block, every time you add a content block, the first thing that's going to happen is a settings window for that content block is going to open up. And here we have the settings section for our logo content block. Now, what it's already done is it's added my initials, AMJ, to the text field, And if you've been here in previous weeks, you'll have seen my website typically said AMJ Show Demo at the top as the logo, because you can add text instead of an actual image. But today what I want to do is not add text, so I'm going to delete those and you'll see it disappeared. I am going to add, I'm going to center it. So what I'm going to do is, if you click on the image tab here on the right, it allows me to choose an image that I've previously uploaded. And I'm going to choose my logo, which I've uploaded before. So let's click on this little image tab icon here. And I'm going to go to my site files. Now, let me talk about site files gallery. This is a gallery I create whenever I'm making a SmugMug site. I always create a gallery called site files. You can see it just above my head here. That gallery is called site files. Sometimes I'll even call it site files do not delete. And inside this gallery, I typically put all the things I want to use on my website as part of the design of the website. So profile pictures, logos, any graphic images that I use as part of the design, they all go in this folder called site files. And that way I know just never to move them or never delete them, because it's going to have an impact on the design of my website. The other thing that's in this folder is the video for the background, but it's not shown here because I can't pick it for a logo. Right, I've added this logo to my site. So I just picked the logo. In fact, did I choose, let's make sure I chose the white one, the dark one. Actually, yeah, I want the dark version. I've uploaded two versions. So I want the dark one. Now you can see it's added it at full res to the site, so it's absolutely enormous at the moment. And I can change the size of that content block. And I'm going to make this one 250 pixels wide. And you can see here, in fact, let me move this. You can drag these settings boxes out the way if the settings section is hiding the thing that you're wanting to customize. So here you can see I've added my demonstration logo to the top of my website. And if you play about with this resize width, this allows you to just get the size of your logo just perfect the way you want it. I'm going to keep it 250 pixels wide because I know that's the width of this navigation bar on the left. And then to position it, I'm going to go back to the basics tab and I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, and there's an alignment section. It asks you where you want it within the content block. Now, content blocks, when you add them to your site, typically fill the entire width of your site. We call it the container width. So the size of the block is the entire width of your site if it's the only block on the page, and it'll be 100% container width. So it'll be the entire width of the site. That way, no matter what device people are looking at it on, it'll always be 100% wide. So rather than working on pixels, using our stretchy layout, which I'll come to in another episode, which makes your site responsive, we work in percentages. So we want the content block to be 100% wide. But if I make it 100% wide, you can see that content block is all the way across the page. And if I choose alignment center, then the logo is going to appear completely in the center of that content block. If I choose left, it's going to appear on the left-hand side of the content block. You can see it's just switched, and this is where I want my logo for this demonstration purposes. So that's where I want my logo, and if I click done, my logo is now in this red content block, which tells me it's on every site, every page of my site. If I click on the done button at the top, I then have some options. Some of you will be familiar with me talking about these before. 3 options here. I can choose publish now, which means that change that I've made goes live in public and anybody who's looking at my website can see it. If I choose save for later, it remembers the change and saves the change, but doesn't make it live on my site until I tell it to publish it. Save for later is a good way to make changes to your site in the background and only publish them once you're happy with them. And the third one is discard, and that basically throws away those changes. For now, I'm going to hit publish, and here we have my demo logo on the site, on my page, and it will be on every page. So if I go to my portfolio section, it's still there. If I go to my About Me page, if I click on About Me, it's all there. It's on every single page. So let's go back to my home page, which is a very empty page at the moment. And let's add some more content. Let's do some more customization to this page. Let me check and see if there's any questions. Use that as an excuse to have a little drink while I'm doing that. No questions at the moment. So let's continue. So let's do some more customization of this home page. So again, I'm going to click on this Customize tab. And we go into the customizer. Let's see why my page is gone. There we go. And let's add some more content to the home page. So again, making sure I'm on the home page on the navigation section up here. Click on home page. Let's add some photos to the home page. So I'm going to go to the photos section. Let's zoom in there a little bit. So I've clicked on this plus button next to the word photos, and it gives me some content blocks to do some other things. I could add a single photo. I could add multiple photos. I could add a slideshow, which will appear just in a window rather than the whole background. Or I can add a carousel. A carousel is this kind of rotating strip of images. For now, I'm just going to add multiple photos. So again, click on the content block, drag it onto the page. Here I'm just going to add it to the body of the page, so right here in the center. And it adds the content block. You can see there's a photos content block, but there's nothing in it yet. And as I said earlier, it automatically opens the settings for this content block, and it asks you what you want to do. Let's see if I can zoom in. Yeah, we can zoom in on these. So again, there's two tabs. There's the basic tab and a display tab. The content block has a title. If you zoom out, you'll see it has a title up here. It says photos. Again, that's all customizable from a size perspective. So I can make the text larger, make that word larger. I could align the text, make that in the center. You can see it's in the center there. Or I can delete the word altogether so that it doesn't even appear. Then we have some choices for the content block. It's going to ask me where I want to add the images to this site. And I can choose a single gallery. I can choose photos from all over my site. I can choose photos with just certain keywords. I can choose from my most popular photos or recent photos. Just now, I'm just going to click on single gallery. And then it asks me to go choose that gallery. So let me zoom back out, click on choose gallery. And again, it's going to open the picker so that I can choose the gallery that I want to use. Let's click on fashion here, click done. And now it's going to populate that content block with all the images from that one gallery. To continue the customization of this content block, I'm just staying in the settings tab. The settings pop up here, and the next thing I'm going to do is go to layout. And when I click on the drop down at layout, again, I've got some choices. At the moment, we're seeing them as a grid. So it's showing a grid of all the images in that gallery. It's showing them in a small size, and it's showing them at an aspect ratio of 1:1. So it's showing them as square blocks on the site. I could choose a larger size. And again, it sizes them in that content block. Let me scroll down, let you see it. So those images have got bigger. I can change the aspect ratio of the grid. So I could make these 2x3. And there we go. Makes them slightly taller and longer. There we go. So again, you can have some impact on the visual layout of your images just with the settings in the content block itself. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to choose this from the drop down, this item called Collage Landscape. One of my favorite layouts for photographs. When I choose Collage Landscape, and let's just hit done here for a second so you can see it better. What it does is it takes all those images inside that gallery and places them in a collage and makes them fit no matter what the aspect ratio of those photographs are. So you can see we have some regular probably 3x4 images here. We have some square images, we have some portrait, taller images, all different aspect ratios, but it makes them just fit on the page. And it will make them fit no matter what device size or size of screen people are looking at your site. So it's a really nice way using Collage landscape to showcase images in a content block. If you want to get back to the settings of a content block, if you hover over the content block, you can see there's a little tool icon, a little spanner wrench options button there. If you click on that, it'll open the settings up again for any content block. And again, some things I can do is change the image size. Let's make them really large. And then let's head over to this display tab. The display tab then lets me customize how these images look together. First one I can do is change the spacing between those images. So let's add a little bit more padding, I would call it, so that those images spread out a little bit from each other. I could then add info. So if there's any text for these images, I could add it onto the image, and I can add it underneath the image, or I can add it on a bottom bar of the images. We'll come back and do that another time. And that's the main features I want to talk about. Varying height, I always put that on just so that it makes all those images fit really nicely within the content block. And there we go. We have added a logo to my homepage. We've added a whole bunch of images to this homepage. And if I click done, and if I click publish now, those images go live, and my website now has all these really nice images on it. A couple of other things I want to show you just before we finish up and get to some of your questions for today. Let's look at the navigation menu. Navigation menu is a really important part of your website, maybe the most important part of your website beyond the imagery that you put on your website. It's how people find their way around your website and find the things that you want them to find on your website. So let's go back to entire site here, which is where my logo and my navigation menu live. What I want to do is let's just quickly change a setting in the logo. Let's move the logo back to the center of the page. So I'm going to scroll down to where it says alignment, and I'm going to move that to center, hit done. You'll see my logo's now back in the center of my page. And what I really want from my site is to have my logo at the top of my site and my navigation bar underneath my logo, horizontally along just underneath my logo. Now at the moment what we have is a vertical menu bar, and it is running vertically up and down here in what we call a side panel, so a left side panel here. But I actually want, as I said, move that under my logo. Now if you already have a content block on your site, you don't have to add a new one. Of course you can have as many content blocks as you want, but if you already have the one you want, you can just move it. So there's a little move icon just at the left here. Let me see if I can find that, this little square here. If I click on that, you can see I can now drag it around the site. If I drag it over my logo, you can see it's now giving me 4 options. I can put it below the logo, I can put it to the right of the logo, the left, or above. Now what I want to do with this block is put it below my logo. So I've just let go and it's added it below my logo. Now I know what you're all thinking. It looks terrible because I have a vertical menu bar right down the middle of my page. But I can change that. I just go to the options, this little tool icon here on the navigation menu content block. I click on that and it opens the settings for my menu content block. And one of the settings right at the top is the layout style. And at the moment it says vertical, so it's a vertical bar. And you've guessed it, I want to change it to a horizontal bar. And you can see straight away it has moved that menu into a horizontal bar, so they're all nicely laid out underneath my logo, which is exactly where I wanted it. And when you're in a menu content block, if you click on the tab that says links, this is where you can add all the links that you want in your navigation menu bar for your customers to click on. And here at the moment I have 4 options for them in the navigation menu content block: home, portfolio, about me, contact me, and client area. I could add a new link. So let's just click the plus icon. Let me just go back so you can see that again. Right down here at the bottom right, there's a little plus icon. So if I click on that, this is where I can create a new navigation item within the menu bar. So let's just make one up that says shop. So as soon as I type the word shop, you can see it's already appeared in the navigation section of my the menu here, the menu content block. And then underneath that, it asks me, what do I want it to link it to? When someone clicks on that word shop, what are they going to do? Well, they're going to go to all the images that I have for sale on my site. So they're going to go to certain sections of my website. Here we've got various choices. They can go to contact form, they can go to search, but I actually want them to go to a page that I choose. And then I click on choose page, and it takes me again to this picker where they can choose a page, or you can choose a page that menu item links to. And I have one here called shop, very conveniently. Click on done, and now whenever someone clicks on that button, it will take them to that shop page. I then can go customize that shop page to let people buy whatever I decide to put on that page. So changing the menu is very, very simple to do. All our templates designs, when you choose one, will have a navigation menu content block already on them. So most of the time, adjusting your menu for your navigation menu, it's just a case of adjusting the one that's already on your site. Of course, if you delete it or you want to add a different one, back over here to the customizer, make sure you're on, let's zoom in here, make sure you're on content tab here, and then you scroll down until you find navigation, expand that, and this first one here, menu, is this navigation menu content block, and that's where you could add one. And if I drag one over here, you can see I'm now adding a new menu content block right here above my social icons, and you can have as many content blocks as you want. That is the very basics of content blocks. In the coming weeks, we'll get deeper into what the various content blocks do and how you can add them to your site in various places. But hopefully that gives you a little insight into how you can add a content block for any feature you want on your site. If you want to add something to your site, social icons, content blocks, videos, menus, slideshows, all that type of stuff, it's all here in the content tab. Under one of these drop downs, you'll find all those items that you need to add anything to your site. We've also looked at the background tab, how you can add a slideshow, a video, or just a still image to any of your pages. I'd recommend you do that for your home page if you want to do it. And then in the coming weeks, we'll look at some other features such as the layout tab, which allows you to do things like have these side panels and some other cool features. Right, let me jump over to the questions here. This is your final call for questions. So if you have some questions about anything I've shown today, let me know now. We've got about 10 minutes max left. And if you've got any other general questions, I'll get to them as well. I see a few general questions here. Matt Adams says, could you show us how to set up a client area, please? I absolutely can, Matt. In fact, I've already done it. If you go to, once you've finished watching today, if you go back here to the YouTube page and you look at our playlist, I have a playlist called Tips and Tricks Playlist, which is a collection of all the previous episodes I've done of SmugMug Tips and Tricks here on SmugMug Live. And there's an episode all about creating that client area and showing you some of the features of how to do that and how they can use it. So rather than repeat that, because it's a full episode, it's about an hour long, go back and look through the playlist and you'll be able to find that. I'm not avoiding your question, Matt, but it's probably much more valuable for you to see that entire episode than to give you a 5-minute run through of it. Golf Oscar question, can you give the menu block a background color? Let me just go back to the page and I'll show you all the features that are available on the content block. So I'm still in the customizer here, and if I click on the tool icon on any content block, you can see the basics of what you can do with the content block. And you can see here some of the things you can do, as I mentioned earlier, the size, the layout style of the menu item itself, the position of it. It's in the center here because I think it looks best on that site, but I could make it aligned to the left if I wanted. Text color you can change, and the hover color, that's when you hover over a menu item, the word itself will change. But there is not a way from default to just change the background color of just the block itself. So yeah, there's no option there to change the content block for the menu one. This would come under the services of advanced customization, where if you look down here, there is the ability to add custom HTML and CSS to your site, where you can drag on a CSS or HTML editor onto the site. And there's definitely ways, if you are advanced in coding, to be able to change those, but it's not something we have a standard setting within the content block to change that menu item. You can, however, change the color and the background of just the header itself, rather than the rest of the page. So if you think about what I've done here, I've dragged the logo and the menu navigation content blocks into the header of my website. So if I just click done and click publish, you'll see that if I have it set up that header is sticky at the moment. So someone comes to your website, they see it like this, and when they scroll down, that footer is staying in place. So I've pinned that header to the page, which is another technique I'll come to maybe next week when we look at the layout tab in the customizer. But what you can do is you can change the color of the header and you can change the color of a sidebar. So in this instance, I could change the background color of this entire header. And to do that, you do that in your theme section. So again, in episode 77, we went in depth to themes, and I think I showcased changing the theme of a site. And within, I think it's the advanced section. Yeah, within the advanced section of the theme tab, you can actually change the color of the header and the opacity of it. If you look at, let's cancel this. If you look at my site, when I scroll up past the header, you can actually see through it because I have some opacity to it. But let's go back to the customizer. Let's go back to themes. Let's go into my theme, which is the AMG demo theme. Click on the settings, go to the advanced tab, click on the color I want for the header. So let's make it fairly obvious here. Let's click on that. So not the individual content block itself, Golf Oscar, but changing the actual header, which is changing all the content blocks in there. And again, if I change the opacity, you can see that it changes the color, and my goodness, you can have some fun with those colors. Yeah, a way to change a content block is to change it if it's in the header or the sidebar, but it's kind of universal. It's not just that individual content block. To do an individual content block, you need to get into some advanced CSS for the site. Right, let's go back and see if there's any questions. Hopefully that was obvious to you there, Golf Oscar. Matt Adams says, thanks, Al. You're welcome, Matt. Go back and watch that previous episode. I can't remember what episode number it was, but there is a playlist of just the tips and tricks episodes, so you should be able to find it there. John says, can we make template copies of a customized page or gallery? Unfortunately, not at the moment. Not an individual page. You can't make that a template and use it on another site or as another design. It is some feedback I've heard a few times on this show, so thank you for that feedback, and I'll certainly mention it, and we'll look at features to see if it's possible to make copies, but I know at the moment it's not an option that we can do as standard. But great feedback, John. It would be interesting if you put a lot of work into customizing a page to make it a template for future use. Right, I'm just looking at the chat window here. No more questions. This is your final shout out for questions. While I wait to see if any more questions come in, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. I'm going to ask you to hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell notification. That'll do a few things. By subscribing and turning on the bell notifications, of course, you'll be notified whenever I release another episode of SmugMug Live, whether it's a tips and tricks or with some of our guest photographers that come on the show. Also works wonders at supporting the work that we do here on SmugMug Live. YouTube loves it when people subscribe and hit that bell notification, and therefore show it to more people and suggest these videos to more people. So it would be a huge benefit to me and the channel if you hit the subscribe button and the bell notification. And I just saw someone give us a thumbs up. It's another great way to support what we do here at SmugMug Live. The best way you can support it is by turn up and ask me questions and support me and what we do. And I love so many of you being in here enjoying some tips and tricks and some inspiration and motivation, and for asking such great questions. So thank you for that. If you haven't subscribed, please go do so now. Right, no more questions coming in. So the last thing for me to do is tell you about Thursday's show. So this week, we will be joined by a dear friend of mine, Megan McCaskill, joining us from Wild Bloom Studio, and a wonderful, wonderful family photographer, newborns, families, portraits, all the things you want to do and all the memories you want to keep with your family. Megan really is an expert at capturing those moments and telling those stories. She's going to join me on Thursday for a little bit of a look at her work, but we're also going to have a little conversation about how she makes clients for life. Megan works with clients over and over again, from when they get engaged, get married, have babies, get new pets, have graduations. She does a wonderful job at keeping those clients for life and getting repeat business, and we'll have a little bit of a chat about that on Thursday. So come back, join me on Thursday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. if you're in the UK, 8 p.m. in Europe on Thursday. But for now, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've learned a couple of things today. And next week, we'll do a little bit more customization and get a little bit deeper into some more of those content blocks. But for now, wherever you are in the world, stay safe, be kind, look after each other, and I'll see you back here on Thursday. Take care, everybody. Bye.